Recalculating Route, a show about taking a new direction with your life. Here's your host, Christy Atwood.
It's time for Recalculating Route. And it's time for you to say, what's Recalculating Route and who the heck are you? I'm Christy Atwood, and I'm really excited tonight because what we're getting a chance to do is talk with a very special person. We have with us Kathy, the spiritual medium, who's going to tell us a little bit about what it's like being psychic and what we can expect if we go to a psychic and what sort of, well, just a little bit of everything. In fact, you know what? There is no reason for me to sit here and tell you. Let me get her into the room so she can share with us. So let's see here. We'll get her in the room to talk to us, and let's get started on talking about being a psychic. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. And you look marvelous.
Thank you.
I am so
Thank
glad
you.
you could be with us today. There's so many questions I have. I am going to remind people that as we go through this, I'm going to be watching the comments on Facebook, and we will look for any questions that they have or anything they want to talk about so they can join in the conversation. Because I think, oh yeah, we got 5 people already, which is big for starting off, I'm going to say. So we're going to get started talking about some of this.
Wow.
First of all, would you like to introduce yourself and tell you where you're from? I didn't think about that.
Hi. Yes. My name is Kathy Desarmo or Desarmo, but from down here we say Desarmo. I am a spiritual medium and have only been doing it for maybe 5 or 6 years. I was thrown into it. Always knew I was a little different, but couldn't figure out why. So I just chalked it up that I was just different. And upon me having my very first reading, of course, you know, when we have loved ones that cross over, we always want to make sure that they're okay. And that was the main reason that I scheduled a reading. And when I walked in, the medium said, "I don't know why you're even here. You have the ability." And I was like, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And then through the reading, she told me that something tragic was going to happen in my life, and it would throw me full force into being a spiritual medium. And it happened. So here I am. And thank you so much for having me.
Wow.
So,
so there was like no doubt for you. I mean, because, you know, I know that all of us think that sometimes. It's like, oh, you know, I wonder if I have that ability, you know, because it's in the back of our minds.
Yes. And you know, I hate to do this, but as we're talking, Air Med is landing in my yard.
Not for anybody in your house, huh?
No. I see it's at a neighbor.
Oh my.
Oh goodness. Yeah. They always land in my yard. And also too, and y'all excuse me because I'm technically challenged. First of all, do y'all hear the helicopter hovering?
Nope.
Okay. Secondly, I only see you, so I won't see me during this, which makes it better for me.
Because I can turn off the slide if you'd like to see yourself.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But if you see me look away, it's because I'm just watching. Okay, yeah. So we're good. I'm gonna tune them out. I'm gonna tune them out. Okay. So anyway, so thank you so much for having me. I apologize for that little distraction, but yes. So I did study with a spiritual medium in Canada. Her name is Carmel Joy Bayard. We went through classes. We learned what to do, what not to do. And being ethical is probably the most that she talked about, because there's a lot of people out there who just want to make a quick buck. Yes, I'm compensated for when I do a reading, but I am very ethical when I do a reading. For instance, last night I did a reading. A friend of mine recommended that they contact me because they wanted a reading. And when I called her, she says, "Do you know who I am?" And I went, "Well, I know your name is Susie, but that's about all I know about you." And she kind of settled down. But toward the end of the reading, she told me that she had visited another medium. And she said she felt like the things that medium told her was something that she could have gotten off of Facebook.
Oh, yes.
And I said, "Well, I don't think me telling you that your son says to change the scent of your candle because it smells like poo is something I would have found on Facebook. So, and then she settled down and we had a really good reading and Spirit did a wonderful job. But I'm very ethical. Once I get through with the reading, I don't remember much of the reading because what I say and do during the reading is not me. It is Spirit telling me what to say.
Wow. And I know that when we did our pre-interview and talked a little bit, that was one of the things that was most important to you, talking about, making sure that you understand what ethical is as far as a medium goes and how people should be. And yeah, I guess people could get a lot of information, nowadays.
Yes.
They could get it on Facebook and all. So I'm glad you brought that up. And now something else you just did. Okay. You say like when Spirit comes to you. So it's not when the Spirit, it's Spirit. That's like the name.
Yes. And that's just how I say it. Spirit is anyone or anything. It can be an animal, a pet that's crossed over. When they come to me, it is their spirit. And I see them in my mind's eye, which is one of our chakras. And it's like playing charades with a ray of light. And I just translate as best I can what I see, what I feel, what I hear, what I taste sometimes. And, it goes smoothly when I start asking questions. Did you have this person who suffered a stroke? I'm just giving examples. And then, I'll go on and I'll ask them to claim it. I'm like, can you claim this? Because spirits also, spirits also that are attached to me, my spirit guides, when I call upon them, they come too, if I need help. So, but I refer to them as spirit. I mean, I don't know what else to call it, but it's spirit.
It's spirit. So cool. But it's not like a person or anything. It's like you're saying, it comes in different ways.
Right. It's an energy. And there's one thing I'm going to pick up. I have some notes, and the only reason I have notes is because I want to make sure I tell you guys right.
Okay.
It says receiving psychic information is all about energy. Everything is made up of energy. People, places, and even objects store energy. And since we too are made up of energy, we can receive and read information via our psychic senses. So it's all about energy too. Wow. That's why I don't know if you noticed, when I'm having a reading, I'll ask everyone to come with an open heart and mind and sit up good and straight so their chakras can be open so that spirit can come to me and I can go to them.
Wow.
So, yes.
Oh, this is so fascinating. Okay. So some of the things I have so many questions.
Okay.
There was something that you had said. I loved your description of the soul and a car. And I just thought it was such a cool way to look at our life's energy and how it moves.
Oh, okay. Well, and this is strictly my belief and my analogy, but we are spirit before God sends us down to be with our parents. And we are in this vehicle, our body. And once our body wears out, it's like getting out of a broken down car. We step out, we shut the door, and we go back to God. And that's my belief. That's how I see it. That's how I feel it. And it makes death to me not so scary, if that makes sense. Yes. And I hate using that makes sense. But anyway,
yes,
that is just, yeah.
But now that brings up another interesting thing, because you brought up God. And a lot of people think of mediums as some sort of Satan or something like that, And it's like, that's not anything. I mean, once I talked to you immediately, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a good person, and down to earth.
Well, thank you.
So,
and
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you are a practicing religious person, right? I mean,
I'm very, can I say Catholic? I'm
I
very
think you
Catholic.
can. Yes.
My husband and I have been married forever, but we had never had our wedding blessed in the Catholic Church. So
Mhm.
we decided to do it. And as we were speaking with our priest, he's very fortunate because the Virgin Mother is always with him. And I see her around him when he reads scripture, when he's doing his homily. So we're sitting in his office discussing what we need to do to get our marriage blessed. And I felt like I needed to share with him. So I was like, Father, please don't excommunicate me, but I need to tell you something. So I told him about how the Virgin Mary was around him and my abilities. And I said, I only use it for good. You know, I bring loving, healing messages to people who worry about their loved ones on the other side. And his answer was, that is a beautiful gift and you need to continue using it.
Wow.
Which is unheard of in the Catholic Church.
That is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It makes me a little emotional. But, you know, and I knew I was doing right. And even though he's just a man, but he is a man of God, that he gave me his blessing. It just made me feel better about it.
Yeah, I can imagine that's always in the back of your mind, that this is something, you
Yes.
know, because it's had a bad reputation for years. We've always, you know, the old movies and stuff like that. We always see that kind of thing. And go, ooh, I'm a medium, you know. So, oh, wait, that's a vampire. Sorry, but we always have these different ideas about what a medium would be. So that's a very reassuring thing to hear. You know, something like that.
Yes, it is. And you know, a lot of people do think, and I use the word woo-woo or hokum. And
I've
you
been
know,
using
a
that in the
lot of
last week, by the way. Since you used that on me, I've been using woo-woo a lot.
And a lot of people think it. And I just, for instance, my reading last night, I think she thought she was going to get a lot of woo-woo. And I know in my heart that I am doing the right thing for people. And like I said, when I go into prayer and ask for the loved ones to come through, I just ask for them to give us loving, healing messages. But know this, if they were nasty and a meanie on earth, that same personality carries over to the afterlife. And I will ask people who are nasty and meanies to step back, that we don't want to talk to them, because who wants to hear, you know, that, you know, somebody complain from the other side. Yeah, who wants to hear that? So that's just me. I'm speaking for me, myself only. But anyway, that's how we do. I do want to do one other thing. This is a quote from a theologian, Florence Scovel Shinn, once said, intuition is spiritual faculty that doesn't explain but simply points the way. It is also believed that intuition is your divine spirit or higher self talking to you. And I truly believe that. Wow. And I think we all have the ability. It's just some of us don't quite know what to do with it. And then there's some of us who have to have the who, what, and where. And then there's me who just accepts it and goes with it. I mean, I think on our first visit, I told you I always knew I was different. And it was when I was in junior high. And that was when the Bigfoot craze was going on. My dad took me and my brothers to go see this documentary about Bigfoot. And I honestly thought, well, that's the problem, Bigfoot. That Bigfoot is following me. That's what the problem is. And I just chalked it up to that. But every one of us has intuition. Every one of us has, because, I mean, listen to your gut and see subtle signs. And if you open your chakras and open your mind's eye and ground yourself, you should be able to pay attention and hear things from our loved ones who have crossed over. That's my belief.
That is a beautiful thought. And I like that idea, because honestly, we have so much noise in our lives. We could be getting messages all the time and we're missing them because we're drowning them out with everything else. sitting in silence, in meditation, taking that time and sitting still, you never know what you'll tap into.
This is true. Meditation is a wonderful thing.
Tell me something. Okay, when somebody comes into you for a reading, what should they expect? What happens? Or if they do it like this online or anything, what happens?
Oh, okay. Well, the first thing I do is just, make sure they're at ease. And then I just let them know what to expect. And I'll say something to the effect that, I sit quietly in prayer, ask their loved ones to come through to give them loving and healing messages. If they hear something that they don't really know what it means, it's not meant for them to know at that time. It'll come to them later on, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months down the road. It'll come to them. And sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, I can be way off the mark.
Mm-hmm.
But it just happens. But what I do as I am playing charades with rays of light in my mind's eye, I doodle. And as I doodle, I have to hurriedly say what I'm, seeing or hearing or feeling in the hopes that that is a good message for the person that's sitting with me.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, not knowing their background or anything like that, some things might come to you in a way and that it's not seeming like it's on the mark, but
yeah.
Plus later on, they might realize that what you're saying, oh, that's what it is. Because that's what I did when we met. I mean, it was like not even an hour later, I went, oh my gosh, that's what she was talking about. So it was just amazing like that. And I see we have Glenn on here who is talking about how you are amazing. Just look at some of the comments on Facebook.
Hi, thank you.
Yes. So I just wanted to mention that. So that's that. But so you sit there and you go through that with them, and I like.
And that's also my clue to let spirit know that we're ready to start working. That I'm ready to start receiving their messages. There was one time I was going to read for a family, and I knew one member of that family, didn't know anybody else. I was on my way. It was hours before the reading. I was on my way to the grocery store, and this nurse appeared, and she was like, look, this is what we need to do in this reading. And I'm like, okay, you need to take a step back. I'm not ready for you.
Whoa.
And hours later, when I got to the reading, I walked in, and this nurse, she was so strong. And I said, I can't even give you my spiel because I have a nurse here. And they all busted out laughing, and they named her, and they said she was always so bossy. And I said, she's been with me all day. She's been with me all day. And I kept trying to put her in a corner and tell her to back off, but she wasn't having it. She wanted to be in charge.
I love it. I just love it.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's great things.
That's amazing. And okay, I remember you talking too about like sometimes impromptu readings, like even when you were getting your hair done or something. Didn't something come to you then?
I did, and it was a grandfather. So I can remember bits and pieces, but I kept fidgeting, and my hairdresser, bless her heart, knows that I have this ability. So I kept fidgeting, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to walk up to this person and say, hey, I got your grandfather here, because they're going to say, okay, she's crazy. This is woo-woo or hokum. And
right.
So finally, I kind of just told my hairdresser what was going on. And she goes, oh, I think that might be. And she pointed to a hairdresser behind her. And I said, oh, I know who it's for. I just don't want to walk up to someone and blindside them. So she got him to come over, and it was a sweet reading. He just felt the need to drop in and say hello, and he felt like I could do it. But normally, as a rule of thumb, and I've heard a lot of other mediums say they can't get on a plane or they can't go in the mall. That is not my case. I can turn things off, and I can go days and days and days and not think about being a medium, because to me, how can I say this? It's not my number one priority. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
But
and you can't let it take over your life.
Right. Or I would think I was crazy and full of woo-woo, but I just, I can turn it on when I need to. That comes from, working with my chakras, and I can turn it on and I can turn it off too. So,
have to. You've got to protect yourself. You would be totally overloaded if you let every message that's out there come into you. I can imagine even right now, you probably have somebody hanging around wanting to talk, just, I guess they kind of stand in line thinking, hey, I'll get a turn to talk soon.
Yeah. So, well, I kind of have them turn. I did ask you while we were, adjusting lighting and seating and all, and I asked you, did you know a Joe? So I've just kind of asked him to step back because I'm not sure. I don't want to stop the middle of the interview and start.
Yeah.
If he comes through stronger, or if he comes through, I will get messages. Or I'll ask, and then we can go from there. Okay.
Okay. And maybe because it could be somebody there.
It could be. And I'm wondering if it has anything to do with my neighbor that was just taken by AirMed. So,
okay. Yeah. There's another possibility.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I have got to ask this question because it just was so interesting. Tell us about your JFK connection.
Oh, goodness. I know. So when I had my very first reading, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, same medium. She's wonderful. She, toward the end of the reading, because I went mainly to make sure that my brother was okay. I have lost a brother in a very tragic way. Wanted to make sure that he was okay. Toward the end of the reading, she says, what's your Kennedy connection? And I'm like, I don't know. You got to give me more. I don't know a Kennedy. And I was thinking first name. Mm-hmm. And she goes, no, like JFK. And I'm like, okay, this is woo-woo. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And this was in the fall of whatever year. Fast forward to the summer of the following year, we have a family reunion on my father's side. And it was mainly just our cousins. There's only 2 siblings. My dad, actually, I'm just going to stop a minute. My dad, it's the anniversary of his death today, 26 years.
Oh.
So anyway, he has 2 siblings left living, and they were there, and then a lot of cousins because he was one of 11. And I had told one of my cousins that I'm really close to that what that medium had said. And we were just laughing and talking about, our antics growing up, because we were all kind of raised together. I look back on my childhood and I go, my gosh, my best friends were my cousins. And I don't really remember how it came up, but one of the older cousins, we were talking about one specific aunt, and she died young, and no one really talked about how she died. No one. So we got on that subject. And one of the older cousins, when I said, how do you think Aunt Gloria passed away? Because she was so young. And he goes, I'm going to tell you. He said, the government killed her. And I looked at him. I went, what? He goes, she spent the day with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to the assassination of JFK. See, I just got goosebumps. And I was like, no way. And we dug, and we finally found FBI reports where she was investigated. It is documented that Oswald spent time in Clinton, Louisiana prior to the assassination. My aunt died. I'm sorry, she was young. She was like maybe in her late 20s. In this report, it's somehow the FBI tracked it because, they didn't have internet and all that back there, or cell phones, but they tracked it and they put her in his company. She worked at a drugstore that had a soda fountain, and she served him lunch, and he had spent the day. She died under weird circumstances, and another man, and I cannot recall his name, from the same town of Clinton, he also died of unexplained circumstances. And my older cousins believe that the government got them because they spent time with Lee Harvey Oswald.
Whoa.
And then going forward, 2 years ago, I went with a dear friend to Texas to visit one of her cousins and to go shopping. And the cousin in Texas lives in the vicinity lives near where Oswald is buried.
Mm-hmm.
And and you know what? I just want to say this, I'm goofy, so I don't remember names and stuff, but what town is it? Where is Oswald buried? Do you know?
Oh, I do not know.
Somewhere in Texas. It's by Dallas, Fort
Maybe somebody
Worth,
on
somewhere.
our list here. If anybody knows, drop it into the chat. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, her being the most gracious host and her not knowing of my ability or the JFK connection, she said, "Hey, do y'all want to go see where Lee Harvey Oswald is buried?" And I didn't think anything about it. And I was like, yeah. Well, when you get in the cemetery, you cannot ask an employee of the cemetery where he's buried. So we had to Google it. And it was like, you go 3 rows south and 2 rows west. I mean, it was ridiculous, the instructions on how to find his headstone,
Wow.
which is just a plain headstone that just says Oswald.
Near Arlington. Okay.
Where?
It's near Arlington. Penny was saying.
Mm-hmm. As we were walking up to the headstone, I got the most god-awful pain in my stomach where it literally doubled me over. And it was close, I think maybe close to the assassination date. But anyway, I look at my friend and I'm like, I've got to go sit down. I don't know what's going on, but I'm dying. I said, my stomach is just searing with pain. So I get back to the vehicle. I leave the other 2 at the gravesite. I get to the vehicle and then it hit me. Oh my God. Oh my God. This man. Oh my God. So I hurried up and I Googled how he died. He was shot in the stomach.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, that's why I'm in pain. And that Oswald stayed with me. He followed me back to my friend's house and he's basically hung out with me all night. I was in pain. As soon as I went to the house, I excused myself. I went to bed. And finally, in the wee hours of the morning, I sat up and I said, I cannot help you. The conspiracy theories are over. And I think it was 2019 or maybe 2018. I said, you need to go. And I said, you need to leave this room now. And when he left, I saw a black, I don't want to say spirit because he was not a spirit. He wasn't a good spirit. I saw this black force leave through the window. And when he left, my stomach quit hurting. And I was like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that was very interesting and very fun. I won't ever go back to that cemetery.
I bet not.
He does hang around a lot. I know sometimes the medium that told me about it, I went back to her and I said, hey, this is what I found out. This is what's happened. And he has a very strong presence. He's just mad. Mm-hmm. Mad. So, because to his defense, he said he didn't do it.
Well, that was definitely,
like, a decorated veteran who, yeah. But anyway, so that's my story. I'm proud of it. I wish we could get to the bottom of it, but there's no one left in the town that my daddy was raised in. There's no one left for us to talk to about it, that would have known. Yeah. So having a mystery is kind of fun and, speculating is fun, but that's my story with JFK.
Okay. And somebody who has that connection with you, Penny Wilson Beecham, is have put something on here in the chat.
That's my bestest friend. That's my first cousin. Her dad and my dad were brothers.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. Kathy Smith Williams commented, "Oh, you got to go, Oswald." Yeah, I would definitely say that too. Katrina Alvarado asking about her grandma Patsy. Oh, that's interesting. If you hear of any Patsy people coming through, okay. Let's see here.
Did she have a stroke? What's with her head? Grandma Patsy.
Oh,
How
Katrina?
quickly can you see their answers? I don't want to delay anything.
No, it's okay. It usually takes about 20 seconds before it pops up. So, yeah, that was Katrina Alvarado. She was asking about her grandma Patsy, please. So we'll see if she has something to say
Okay.
on that one. I'm just kind of going through the comments here. Just this is
Okay.
so interesting. Love to Uncle Charles. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Kathy Landry saying, and I think it's a wonderful gift, Kathy.
thank you.
Kathy Smith Williams saying, there's not enough Adderall for me to handle a bunch of voices. I understand that. It
I
takes
know,
a special person.
I have children. I have adult children, and sometimes they call me crazy old lady. So I just roll with it. So anyway, also too, I want to mention one thing. If you come to me for a reading and want to know what's in your future, I just have to put this out there. In my opinion, and this is strictly, I'm speaking for me, I only believe that God knows our future. And I have turned people away because I don't want to know what's going to happen in your future. So I don't even visit that. But that's just my belief.
You know what?
That's
I think
just my
that's a
belief.
better thing. We want life to live itself the way it's supposed to be. But what you're doing, the healing messages, I just think that's a positive thing no matter what. I don't know about her grandmother Patsy. She said she was murdered in 1994. So we don't know how she died, I guess. Or maybe, well, I guess she knows, but so I don't
well,
know.
So this is the thing. So one of my signs is immediate. I got an immediate pain to the head. So it could have been, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. And secondly, how terrible of a loss. But if this is your grandmother, I got a terrible pain to the head. That's my sign for a stroke. That could be her. I'm not sure. And also too, something with pecan candy. And if you're from South Louisiana, you know what I mean when I say pecan candy.
Yeah, right.
So
interesting. Okay. Well, that's fascinating. You were talking also about chakras.
Yes.
And can you explain a little bit about how we use that? Like you use that to do your readings.
Yes, I do. And I have a cheat sheet because I don't want to leave any out. There's 7 of them. And we have crown, our third eye, our throat, our heart, our solar plexus, which is like in our gut. Mm-hmm. Trust your gut. Yeah. Our sacral and our root. Now, root is when you sit, and there's prayers, there's meditation prayers that I was taught. And you picture a bright light coming from your crown, going through your body, going through the root into the earth. And that grounds you, which means I translate it as it cleans the slate. And that as you enter into a reading, you don't have any outside interferences. You've cleaned your slate. You got like a fresh blackboard, so you can start using your third eye, your mind's eye, so that you can receive messages for loved ones who've crossed over.
That's I guess for techie people, you could say you reboot because right.
There you go. You reboot. So, I'm not techie, but yeah.
Okay. So that would be the way that you would actually be able to clear everything out and be ready for a reading. Spirit guides. You had mentioned about spirit guides. Do we have spirit guides? I mean, is there somebody hanging around us?
I think we all do. And I call upon mine. I have 2. And you can name them. Some people have animal spirit guides. I have 2 spirit guides. And just from the way that they are dressed, I've named them. I called one Uncle Arthur because he looks, remember Arthur Murray Dance Studios? Yes. He's like from the 50s. Okay. Cool. And then I have an Aunt B that looks like Aunt B off of Andy Griffith. So when I'm having trouble or just whatever, sometimes I call in my spirit guides. It's just a higher power to help me. And don't be afraid. We all have guardian angels too. I think we all have spirit guides. It's just, and there's exercises. You can Google it. You can Google how to tap into your spirit guides. Like I walk down a path and I visualize the path, and I go to a house, and that's where my spirit guides live. And then I ask them to come out on their porch, and that's when I see my spirit guide. Again, using your mind's eye, your third eye. That's what I see with when I'm conducting a reading.
A lot of this that you're talking about is stuff that when we stop and are silent, and like you said, let the energy go through, that we have the opportunity to actually tap into some of this and find that kind of comfort that we're looking for.
It's if we choose to be quiet and accept what we're seeing and feeling and hearing. And again, that's strictly my opinion, but that's how it is for me. So
that's it's kind of comforting, it's like
it is.
It's like our loved ones can still be with us in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. It absolutely, they're with us all the time. My brother hangs out with me all the time, and there's some that are jokesters and full of foolishness, and that's him, and he's so much fun to have around, and I don't feel as lonely knowing that I can just use my third eye and say, hey, David, what do you think about this? And you can still talk to him. I'm sure all of us who have lost a parent or a grandparent, we think to ourselves, if I could, I'm sorry, my dogs are barking.
Oh, that's no problem. Mine was too. Okay.
But it's
if
just
we could talk to him again.
To know. Mm-hmm. Yes, if we could talk to him again. My mind's ping-ponging right now. I do want to say this. I talked to you about what I saw on my way home from work. I've got to tell it because it's
absolutely.
It's ping-ponging. So I have been praying. I started a new job and I had some downtime at work. I had some downtime and I was praying and I was calling on my spirit guides and I was like, please let this be interesting for people. And don't let me sound like I'm full of woo-woo or hokum. And then I said, God, give me a sign. And I was driving home, still praying. I stopped at a red light and I looked to the vehicle to the right of me. And on the side of the vehicle in the window was a picture of Queen Elizabeth doing the Queen wave. And I went, oh, that's my son. And I totally settled down, because I knew that it was going to be okay, because Queen Elizabeth and I share a birthday. And who in small town USA, Abbeville of 15,000 people, would have a picture of Queen Elizabeth on the side of their vehicle doing the Queen wave?
That doesn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah. No. Uh-huh. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, thank you. But in just me saying that should let people know, if you ask a higher spirit or God or your spirit guides or your guardian angel, and if you're just open to receive, say, just please let me know this is going to be okay. And then pay attention to the signs or the noises, the subtle noises, the subtle signs around you. And you'll say, oh, there's my sign, and it's going to be okay.
Yep. I believe that, because I see those things. And like you were talking about when we were visiting before, sometimes animals or like birds or butterflies or something can be like a sign to you from beyond.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's standard, the red cardinals, that's a sign of someone from heaven visiting. Yesterday in that reading, I asked the father, I said, did you see a bunny rabbit yesterday? And he got quiet. And he said, I did. How did you know? And I said, that's your son. He's showing me a bunny rabbit. And he's saying, you saw that bunny rabbit yesterday.
Oh, so, goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And you just, so bunny rabbits, hummingbirds, dragonflies. If you see repetitive numbers like on your clock or on your phone, 111 or 333 or 222, those are all signs. Those are signs that our loved ones are with us.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And that's like, so. It's feels good because it means that there's little things that we can notice and remember that people are still with us, and that love never goes
Absolutely.
away. That energy of
Right.
love never goes. Um, Something else you had mentioned, and I don't know what you were going to say about this, but you had mentioned, remind me about orbs, and I don't know exactly what that was.
Orbs. Okay. That's another sign that our loved ones are with us. People will send me pictures and say, what's that blue shiny dot in the bottom right of my picture? And I'll go, that's an orb. And then if I zone in on it and just kind of go into my meditative state and say prayers, I can pretty much tell them who it was. Like they'll say, I took this picture. It's my family standing in the water at the beach. I never saw that, that little blue dot, and they're in some of my pictures, not all of them. And I'll say, that's a loved one. That is a loved one. So when you have orbs in pictures or a funny light in a picture, that's your loved ones that are with you when at the time the pictures are snapped. Again, that's my beliefs. I'm speaking for myself.
But that would make sense. I mean, honestly, because it's like, they're there with you. They're just watching out over you. And what a wonderful feeling. I see where Cherie is saying she sees 444 all the time, and Kathy Smith Williams says hers is 2s. And I know my husband and Kathy Landry and myself, we all do 1111 because that whole thing with her dad. So
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And especially if you pay attention to it, and just it's a little extra comfort knowing that we're not in this crazy mean world by ourselves, that we do have protectors around us.
What a great feeling.
It is. It's an awesome feeling. And it does me good when I am able to deliver healing, loving messages for some people that are just so hurting, because they've lost someone in a tragic way, or just lost, a parent or a grandparent, whatever the case may be, or someone who wants to know, my child died of an overdose, and did he do it on purpose? And unfortunately, with these crazy times that we're living in, I have been doing a lot of readings for people who have lost loved ones to overdoses, to suicides. And it is heartbreaking. And most of the time, spirit will claim that they take responsibility for what happened. So they're trying to remove the burden of guilt from their loved ones that are left behind. And also to let them know, I mixed these drugs together. I knew it might be bad. I take full responsibility. But unfortunately, with, COVID and all that, I've been doing a lot of readings where people have lost loved ones to suicide. And again, like I said, it's heartbreaking, but it does. All I want to do is help people. And when I feel like I've lost the ability, or that, I never want to do the woo-woo or hokum stuff, but if I ever feel like I'm not giving it my best or doing my best, I'll stop, because you're playing with someone's emotions and their feelings. And I take that responsibility very seriously, very seriously.
I appreciate that. And
this
is just amazing. I mean, they've really enjoyed that. We have a lot of messages on Facebook, and probably some of them that we can't actually answer right now. But what I will do is, since we're getting a little bit further on here, can people contact you?
Absolutely. And excuse me,
there's your picture.
I'm so sorry. I have it on Do Not Disturb. That's another thing. I am a big goof, and if anybody who really, really knows me, I have a hard time. I cannot make a decision. I'm technically challenged. I think it's just part of being a medium. Anyway, I have a Facebook page. It's called Kathy the Spiritual Medium. And also too, I have an email. It's Kathy the Spiritual Medium at yahoo.com.
Yep, I got that on the screen right there. I wanted to
And
make sure.
please, 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 if you feel the need for a reading, I would be honored. I would be honored to try and channel spirit for you.
The thing that I love is exactly what you're picking on yourself about, being, a goof or being. It was the whole thing when we got talking, and I saw how real you were. It was different
Thank you.
from those people who put on the, ooh, I'm, this kind of thing, and they do all that, and they make it real. There's smoke and there's all this kind of stuff. It was none of that. It was just, this is me, and I didn't choose to be this way. It just happened to me, and that's what made me go, okay, this person's the real deal. I believe
Thank
this.
you. And I think I told you, I'm just an ordinary woman, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, who just happens to have the ability to speak with spirit. That's it. I'm no different from anybody else. Though I am a little goofy, but other than that, I'm just an ordinary woman who just happens to have this God-given gift.
You're a wonderful, goofy woman, and we are so thankful that you spent some time with us today, Kathy. We really appreciated this. Everybody has really gotten a lot out of it. And we will put this on YouTube, so if people miss something, they can get a chance to watch it on the Recalculating Route channel. And thank you. Please come back and visit with us again soon. We love this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christy. I enjoyed it. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye.
All right.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Recalculating Route. Join us next Wednesday evening at 6 Central.